So here we are again, the next video from Flying Raven Studios. Now this week we are going to look at bases, specifically ones that you would use for the Necromunda board. So we're looking for the dark, grim, grimy atmosphere of Necromunda, but on top of that with the hazard stripes and the little bits of details that we all love and see. So sit down, relax and enjoy. So let's get started then. Now, what I've got here is just one of the normal bases from the Necromunda sets. This is the 40mm one, so it's slightly larger, just so that I can kind of show you a few more of the different techniques that you can use on all sorts of different bases. I've primed it in a grey, and now we're doing the first coat, which is with the base paint from Citadel, which is the lead belcher. It's a commonly used one, and this gives it a really nice effect. So we just plaster it all over the base in the sections which you want to look metal by the time you finish. This can take a few minutes just because you want to get a good coat of it all over it. And the pigment in this paint isn't too bad, so you genuinely only need one coat for it normally, but just make sure that you do have a good covering on all the sections. Now, as you can see, I've purposefully left one little section still in grey. I'll come back to that and you'll see why in a little while. As you can see, we're now moving on to the black part. This is the bit where I want to put some hazard stripes later on. So I'm just going to put the black down to start with. Now, I've watered my black down quite a lot, so I do a couple of coats just to make sure that it has a real strong, dark, kind of full colour to it. And also that I've covered every single section that I want to be black. Next, we return back to the silver sections, or the lead belcher sections, and use some inks on it. I'm just using Seraphim Sepia to coat the whole entire thing and give it that kind of rusty look. So again, just make sure that you cover all of the areas that you'd painted in lead belcher to start with, and then leave it to dry. And now onto some taping. I'm using some 6mm tape just to mask off the areas that I want to keep black. Now, this is a little trick that if you lay the 6mm next to each other, you'll ensure that you've got a 6mm gap in between. So once that's done, you're ready to then start moving on to the yellows. Now, obviously painting yellow on black isn't the easiest thing, so I always start with a brown. If you want more details on how to do this, we've done a video on doing hazard stripes on a larger scale. Have a check out the link and go and see that one. So once I finish with the brown, the next thing I do is mix in some whole red. Again, it just kind of gives the area a bit of a depth, so that's what we're looking for, obviously, as we go forward. After that, it's then moving on to the yellows. Now, I'm using a golden yellow, which is one of the Vallejo paints, mixed with whole red, and a 50-50 split. This is the process that probably takes the longest because you have to paint a layer, water it right down, paint another layer, and just keep building it up. And it is a bit of a slow build up, but once you've finished it, it comes out with a really, really nice result. Once you've done that, as you can see, I'm slowly just adding more and more yellow to the mix. And then once you get to the point where you're using full golden yellow, we then actually start adding a little bit of moon yellow to it, which is again another Vallejo paint. I just find that these ones work really well as yellows. They give you that really nice bright colour. A few more coats and we're nearly there with the yellow. But again, as I said, it is a slow process and it does take a little bit of time to build it up. So just take your time on it and you'll end up with a really, really fantastic result. So this is now the last coat, which is pure moon yellow, and it really, really is quite bright and vibrant. And because you've built up the colours underneath it, it means that the pigment in the yellow, which is often quite difficult to get on a dark background, really works and really stands out. So now that is done, we are ready to take the labels off. Now, Fortunately, unfortunately, depending on which way you look at it, the masking tape actually took a little bit of the black off. So I decided instead of painting black, I would go back with the lead belcher and just touch it up so it looked like the ground had been scratched, and it gave that kind of more environmental look to it, which was convenient. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't mean to do it to start with, but when the opportunity arises, I couldn't turn down putting some extra scratches and different bits to give it that really, really Necromunda feel. Now the next thing I want to work on is this little light here in the floor. I wanted to make it red, so what I decided to do is that I would start doing a bit of OSL around it. Again, there's a video that if you haven't seen our OSL video, please go and check it out. It's fantastic and it really shows you different ways to do it. That's more with an airbrush, this is just with a paintbrush. So this is a slightly different technique. Building up the area around it to ensure that there's that red glow around where the light bulb is. So I'm just working away around the area with Ferrari red. This gives it a really, really nice kind of, quite a dull red glow to it, but it looks really good. And then the last thing I'm doing is just adding some Spirit Stone red to the actual light bulb to make it kind of almost give that glowing effect. Now the last bit we've got to do just to finish off this base is paint black all the way around the rim. It really then just finishes it off and gives it that really nice kind of clean cut edge. It looks fantastic once it's done. And now we've done all the details and all of the fine bits, we get to move on to the fun part. Streaking grime. Now I'm plastering this stuff all over the base. Once the streaking grime's been plastered all over it, leave it to dry for probably about a minute or so, and then grab your cotton buds. This is the fun part where you get to remove it all. So as you can see, I'm starting with the hazard stripes just because I like to get them cleaned up quite quickly, because you don't want that yellow to dull down too much. Again, with this, you want to make sure that you're taking off the excess and just leaving the rest kind of in the recesses and the cracks and different bits like that. You want that grimy look, you want that dirty finish to the base, because, hey, that's Necromunda through and through, really. So as you can see, those bases have come together really, really nicely with those few different techniques that we've done other videos on. So if you haven't seen them, please do go back and have a look. But also it all just kind of gels together really nicely, gives you that environmental look that you're looking for when you're doing a Necromunda base. So as always, if that helped, please hit the subscribe button, ping the bell, hit the like button, and stay in touch with us. But as always, enjoy, stay safe, and we will see you again.